Welcome to today's masterclass. This masterclass is designed specifically in mind to give you the skills you need within your business to generate more leads, more turnover, more paying clients, and generate it without all the downsides that normally come with that. When we look at a lot of businesses out there, the majority of businesses don't go bankrupt, don't go out just because they had too much money coming in the door. And no one on purpose has low results. No one wakes up and says, we're going to ruin our business today. But a staggering 80% plus of businesses fail within inside the first 4 years. I want to ensure that people don't become a statistic. I'm going to be showing you in depth a full 16-step process that you can use within the business for you and for your team to generate more business, increasing this within inside the next 30 days. Typically, I'd see people see a 30 to as high as a 200% increase in sales inside of the first 60 days. And this is just one piece of that puzzle. I'm David Angel and I'm a sales angel. You probably met me either on Clubhouse, social media, you may even have seen my TEDx talk. And the whole reason behind this is to give you some of the knowledge that I've gained over the space of the last 20 years within the sales arena. Sales is not necessarily hard, but it can be something which to learn the real way, the precise way to navigate through the hurdles that you face can be really, really tough. Today, I'm going to pull back the curtain. I'm going to show you exactly the processes I've used to amass over £20 million worth in sales. Over the space of the last 20 years, I have gone from someone who couldn't sell a single thing. I mean, I was terrible at sales. I couldn't close a door, to being a person that was hired by other companies to come in and show them the precise things because people couldn't understand. Hang on a minute, how's this guy doing all of these big results when our best people are only showing us this? And I'm going to show you the difference on how you go from this place to this place. And today this is going to be done on a free basis. There's no money involved, and this masterclass is designed purely, one, to show you exactly what I do and how I do it. Number two, to give you something to go away with. When you go away with this, you can use it within the business. You can put into practice exactly what I'm talking about today. Then you can utilize that to generate more paying clients. When you're looking within your business, whether you're a B2B, whether you're B2C, whether you're looking for inbound, whether you're looking for outbound, the majority of businesses out there that involve human interaction, this is one of the big areas that we fall down on. No one's running around and purposely doing the wrong phone call, the wrong introduction, the wrong email, the wrong order. But it happens on a daily basis, and we know that. Why do we know it? Well, we've seen it ourselves. I personally had a huge amount of times, and I'm sure you have too, where someone's pushed in for the close too early, they haven't followed up with you, and they missed out on that deal, not thinking that you were interested. So what I've done is I've laid out and I took all of the information I've used over the last 20 years, and I've turned it into a 16-point process, combining one of the oldest methods, which is still classic and still used today within sales, combined with the best way to funnel your business and funnel that traffic from a point when people don't even know who you are to where they are raving clients that are throwing money at you left, right, and center. So let's talk a little bit more about exactly how this can work. First off, what we've got to really talk about is this. If you're looking for a magic pill, some get-rich-quick scheme, this isn't going to be for you. This is something, but it's going to take you a little bit of effort to get it fully set up. But here's the good thing. Once this is set up, once you have this in place, all you do is little tweaks here and there to keep it working at its optimum level. So if you're someone out there that's looking for me to tell you 4 magic words that are going to rock you out into massive growth, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I can't help you with that. But if you're looking for consistent returns, if you're looking to develop the skills you need to go from where you are now to that next level, this is something I can massively help you with. The simplicity behind sales is actually pretty good. Now, before you think, well, I'm not going to be able to do this, or I can't do that, or I'm a small business, or we're too big, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you this from an absolute fact. Sales is something, but if anyone is watching this back from when they met me when I was mid-20s, early 20s even, when I first started in sales, they'll be like, oh my God, I remember that guy. He was awful. I worked hard. I turned up early. I stayed late. I did the practicing. But it came down to the actual actions that I did. Imagine this for a moment. Imagine you pick up your phone now and you dial my number, but you dial one digit wrong. It's not going to go through. And in sales, this happens so often. Sometimes people have got 3 numbers right. Sometimes they've got 6. Sometimes they're 1 digit out. But with 1 digit wrong, that means it's an absolute failure. You're not getting the result you need. You might move further towards it, which is good progression. But imagine for a moment you're trying to guess someone's phone number. Imagine if I could work out now, and out of all of the numbers that's in your phone number, I could guess up to the last 2. How much easier is that to crack the code? How much easier is it if there's only 2 numbers missing at the end? Because all you've got to do is swap those ones around to find which one works. This cuts down a learning path massively shorter than you would have by guessing for yourselves. The idea behind this is to shine a light on it. Now, I'm a sales and business coach. I'm led by sales. And the reason behind that is simply this. If you can generate more money coming in through the door, it makes sense to take that action. And I want to shine that light on that today. But you need to do a few things. 1, you need to take good notes. 2, you need to make sure you have an action plan. Set dates in there as well. Okay, here's our 16-stage process. Here's where we are now. This is where we want to get to, and then take action steps behind it. This is not something that will automatically rocket through without any work. Anyone who's ever been onto mytedx.com and you've seen my TEDx speech, you'll see in there when I did my TEDx talk, which was a phenomenal thing to do. Really, really stuck home. And I worked out a real clear idea of what I wanted to talk about. And the conversation in there is if exposure to knowledge was enough to be successful, that librarians would rule the world. And we're aware they don't. So why? Why, if the exposure to knowledge would be enough, don't they rule the world? Because the exposure to knowledge isn't enough. Same as me exposing you to this 16-step formula today isn't going to make you wealthy unless you apply it. The only reason this doesn't work is if you don't take the time to put it into place and perfect it to your industry. Now, you know your industry. You know who your clients are. And if you're new, we can help you with that anyway. But this is about the process behind it. How to know exactly what to do, when to do it. The process is in the right way. Think of it like this. Imagine you're going to go for a 5-course meal. And you get in there and they bring you out an apple pie at the start. That wouldn't make sense, would it? You'd start questioning, what are they doing? Why? Because it's not in the right order. I wouldn't want to have an apple pie, then turn around and get given some big roast dinner or a steak. And I don't think you would either. Because there's an order of things. There's a way that things need to be done. And we need to work out exactly what your clients need, how they want to buy, how they don't want to be sold, and what the real key benefits are. And it comes down to a few simple processes. There's a 4-tiered system, which we're going to go through. And then there's another 4-tiered system, but you combine them. The 4x4 comes into a 16-step process. So we bring you through using the 4 process here onto the pyramid, and we'll bring you all the way through. So even with your new staff, with yourself, if you're an entrepreneur or solopreneur, you can follow this method and this step to get you there. It's pretty simple. The main reason this works is quite simple. There's an old rule before, and it was called the 873 rule. Now, the 873 rule stated that 73% of buyers, so 73% of the population that could buy your product, they need clarification on 5 or more points, 5, not 4, 5 or more points before they're in a position they are happy and ready to buy. Now, here's the problem. At this point, only 8% of the sales force would still be closing that deal. So let's look at the numbers. If 73% of the buyers need clarification on 5 or more points, but only 8% of people are there, that means 92% of salespeople are missing out on 73% of buyers. Make sense? Okay, here's the big problem. That's out of date. That's out of date. We are exposed to so much information, to so much knowledge now, but that's not enough. But there's good news. When that first came out, automated processes were not a thing. Now we can combine actual interaction with the automated processes need to go through. This is why it's believed that around 14 touch points is the average now for people. That's 14 bits of information and contact. Now, one phone call might be a 45-minute call, and you might hit 6 touch points in that call. So don't panic too much. Focus on what we need to do. The idea of what we've got here is we build a process which involves you or your team doing one thing, then having a series of automated processes after, so that you're not doing all that legwork, all the grunt work, and it means you can shorten down the time scale that it goes from someone finding out who you are to being a happy buyer. Make sense? Okay, so let's jump into it. So we need to have a 16-step process. Now there's 4 main tiers. So I want you to imagine a pyramid. And I want you to imagine that broken down into 4 different levels. Now these are the different stages that your client, your customer, your buyer will have to go through in their mind before they are ready to buy it. Now bear in mind, some people that come into your pipeline, they may be further along this process already. They may have seen your adverts, they may have spoke to your competition, they may have done a huge amount of research. That's why sometimes you get such an easy deal. It's not the fact that you did a great job, no offense. It's more the fact that another company, they've been an ABC company and gone through a lot of this process already. Now they're just at the final buying stage. That's why sometimes you do one thing and you get loads of deals. That's because those people were already part way through that pipeline. So let's break it down into a little bit of detail to show you in more exactly what we need. So our very first part of the pyramid, imagine it at the bottom. Now this is problem or product unaware. This means they don't even know who you are. They didn't even know about your solution. They don't even know that you exist. Our next tier up from that is when you become product or problem aware. So now they are mindful of exactly what is going on. Our next tier above that is information gathering. This is where you start getting objections. This is where you start asking questions and there starts to be some friction that can go on. That's not a bad place to be. We want to be up in that area. And then the final tier is when you get up towards that buying now stage. Sounds pretty simple? Great. So now what we need to do is work out, 1, where are our clients right now in that process? 2, how can we progress them up from the stage we're at now to the following stage? So what we want to do is think of it like a computer game. You want to keep leveling up. Too many people come in, they hear about your product, a lead comes in, see if you can relate to this. A lead comes in to your database, they call them, they try to get them to close straight after a 10-minute pitch and it doesn't work. Now I'm not saying that can't work, that's a great thing to do. But if you're following a process, you know where to go. So this is what happens with a lot of people. Lead comes in, you get on the phone call, you do the qualification for a high ticket product. They've made all the right noises, they don't buy. They get ignored for the rest of the time. All that happened was they were only up to the level of, say, information gathering. That doesn't help you. So then when you're at that stage, then you need to know how to have a follow-up process to re-engage those people to get them back on side and becoming a happy client. Okay? So let's break that down. So we've got our pyramid. We've got the problem or product unaware, product or problem aware, information gathering, buying now. So now what we need to do is combine this with an old classic. This old classic is one of the best things that's out there. You've probably seen or heard it before, but the problem is there's 2 sides to this that a lot of people do not use in the right way. Most people know the very basic part of this. Now this is called the AIDA process. Now the AIDA process is pretty simple. It's attention, interest, desire, and action. With attention, interest, desire, action, this is part and parcel of what we need to take people through. So we need to have something that's going to grab the person's attention. So let's start at the bottom tier. We think problem unaware, product unaware. What's going to grab their attention? Something out there which is going to jump out and it's going to grab them and make them go, whoa, what's this? Right? Next up, we've got interest. Okay, we've got to ask something which is going to gauge their interest. This is why when we talk about titles, we talk about big things that are going to grab their interest after their attention. After that, you start working through things that are going to build up their desire. And once you've got to the desire, you get them to take action, which will take us up from tier 1 into that tier 2 system. So think now, what could you be doing in your product currently? How do you generate your leads? What are we trying to achieve in that? Now, you might have something which could be a series of, it could be an advert. That advert might lead nicely through to a series of emails which build up the interest and build a desire. Then we get them up to that next stage. You start putting in call to actions to try and find those people that are further through on that pipeline. But this can be quite complicated. It can seem like it is. It's really not. All we need to do is really assess the fact of where are we right now, where are they right now, and what can we do next? Because when you know where your client, your buyer is, the prospect is in the process, it's a lot easier to take an adaptation that can move that forward, okay? So imagine for the moment, we could have, for our first tier, we might have an advert. It could be a post on social media. It could be something which is explaining a video on who you are. Could be something on LinkedIn. Could be a YouTube video. Could be on pre-roll. Think about it. What's going to be our thing that's going to grab the attention? Remember, at this point, we are not trying to sell. All we're trying to do at this stage is get them to what? Know who we are. Once we're at the stage where we have grabbed the attention, that might polarize your audience. That's not a problem either. Because the next stage into that is when we start talking about things which will gauge their interest. We start talking about problems. Are you an X that has X problem? Are you a consultant that needs more clients? Are you someone who's looking for more leads within their business? Why are you here now? You're in my funnel. Let's make no bones about it. You are in my funnel. You are already not a problem unaware. You've gone through problem aware. You're at the stage you're thinking and at the information gathering. So think about it now. How much content have you seen from me before? How many times have you heard me speak? Maybe you've watched my TEDx talk. Maybe you hear me on Clubhouse. Maybe you follow me on Insta. And you've gone through all these processes. You'll start to spot a pattern. And with those patterns, really develop some great skills. And once you've done this, you can move it through in a really simple and systematized way. Okay? Okay, so let's move on. So we're at the problem unaware, and we've gone through our AIDA process. Now that they're problem aware, now they're thinking they need a coach, maybe like you. Maybe they need a new car. Maybe they're thinking about buying a new house. Doesn't really matter what it is right now. Whatever your industry is. Now once you've gone through problem unaware, then we get up to that problem aware stage. Now we need to start getting them to what? We need to start thinking, how do we get them from level 2 at problem aware up to that next level of an information gathering stage, where they start thinking about being a buyer. They start questioning whether it's in their budget. They start thinking, do they really know it? They might even start having pre-buyer's remorse. So what do we start doing now? You start talking about test cases. We start talking about testimonials. We start talking about all the other areas that are out there. We give stories about, this is John, and here's John. When he first heard about us, he thought X, Y, and Z, right? So what are we doing again? We have something here which is going to re-grab that attention. We're going to build their interest up as a product owner. We're going to get them to desire to think, this could be something for us. When you've got the stage that this could be something which is this could be for us stage, we want to then get them up to that next level of taking action to information gathering. Here's where our call to actions really come into play. Some people out there, and if say you're doing phone calls, work out what you're trying to do. Are we trying to do a 2-step sale, a 3-step sale, a 1-step sale, a 5-step sale? Wouldn't advise those. But if you've got people now and at the information gathering stage, and you're at the stage where you've grabbed their attention again, it can be bold statements. It could be emails. It could be a text message. It could be a video. You might even do a webinar. Webinars can be really effective. Imagine for a moment where you are right now. Let's think about where you are. You're at the stage and you're thinking, I need more leads in my business. You're at the stage, and let me know if you've done this. You're thinking, can this guy actually help me? Have you asked that question? Does this guy actually get results? Could this guy actually help me? Would this guy fail me? If you've thought about any of those questions, think about where you are in my pipeline right now. Pipelines aren't a bad place to be. This isn't about some mind tricks where we're doing Jedi mind tricks on you. This is simple and fact. Psychology. It's the psychology behind the sale, and it's there for everyone. But if you're at the stage now where you're at the information gathering stage and you're thinking, I could do this. Can I afford it? I can't afford for it to go wrong. Whatever it might be. That's a great place to be right now. And what's my job to do as a coach? My job as a coach is to come through. So if you've come in at information gathering, I've already got your attention. You're on a webinar. I've already started by talking about things potentially that you're interested in. Now, if you've started to realize this process could work for you, you start desiring the idea that a coach could be of help. Start doing this for yours. What could your webinar could be? Maybe it's an outbound sales team call where you're contacting people and you're saying to people, hi John, we wanted to outreach to you just because you filled out the survey on A, B and C and we see that you're interested in our XYZ model. Now we'd like to show you in a bit more detail how people just like you have found this a benefit. Would you mind if we shared a few details with you? Right? You've got their attention, you've built their interest, you're talking about it. And then in that sales conversation, you start building up their desire. Maybe you're doing it on email and you've got a big sales letter and that sales letter is talking about exactly what's happened with other people. You start talking about the objections for those people that are skeptical, worried, concerned. John, one thing which a lot of people think about of our product is A, B and C. Julie found exactly the same. You talk about a test case, we talk about a study. What do we do next? Now we're at the stage we've took them from attention, interest, desire, all the way up to action again. And what are we now trying to do? Now we're getting towards that buying now stage. This is the stage where we should already have attention, but this is more of a recap. The interest is there, but this time with it, we validate that interest. We ask big questions. We start asking trial close questions. We start talking to them about exactly what they need, finding out how serious it is. Once they're at the stage that you've got to that level and you've built the desire up to a high enough level and you've sold the value, now this is the stage when you start asking for the order. This is a really simple process, but I want to break it down for you for just a moment. Before we do all of the stuff that we've just spoke about, there's 4 main things that most people forget to do, and I want to share that with you right now. So this is quite simple. Remember what we said earlier? Attention, interest, desire, and action. But I want to talk to you about something a little bit more about this. When you are looking to get someone's attention, the best way to do that is to give them your full attention. Not sat there on your phone while you're on a phone call, looking at stuff on the screen, looking at what other people are doing. Be fully immersed, be present with that person. If you're in a face-to-face meeting, don't be looking around, focus on other areas. Have your body language pointing to that person. Give that person some eye contact without sounding crazy or looking crazy. If you want to build up a level of interest, are you acting interested? Sounds simple, right? But how are you being interested? How are you showing? Because you could be interested, but are you showing them that you are interested? One of the best things to do is to be interesting. If you're trying to build rapport up with someone, be interested and interesting at this stage. When you're looking to build desire, are you showing a desire to help them? How are you showing them a desire to help them? Once you have done that, you need to be an action taker. If you are someone who goes flaky at the order, if you're someone who says you're going to call people back and you don't, if you're someone who talks about wanting a coach and then you don't go ahead with it, all of these things will push that out onto the other people. They'll get that vibe from you. Action takers like action takers. Committed people like other people that are committed. And if you're looking for a high level of commitment from your end user, from your buyer, from your prospect, you need to echo that in your actions as well. It's so easy when we get to an objection to relate to people when they say about having no money or no time. And that's normally because we've done exactly the same with other people. As soon as it gets uncomfortable, as soon as the heat comes on, we start to freak out and panic, when actually there's no reason to. What we want to do is we want to make sure. So I want you today, I want you to do 4 main things. 1, I want you to break down your levels. 2, I want you to get a process in place of exactly what they're doing. 3, I want you to break down how are you being interested, how are you showing up with attention, how are you being desired, how are you showing desire to help people, and how are you an action taker. And number 4, I want you to book a call. It's that simple. Book a free call with me or with one of the team, and we want to show you in more detail and see if we can help. We cannot help everybody, and just because you're on this does not mean that we would take you on as a client. There's 2 main areas of what we do. Number 1, we have one-on-one coaching. Well, one-on-one coaching is something which you have to get pre-qualified for. Now that's because we will only bring people on which we know can help. Or number 2, we have a platform. So if you've got a sales team or you're looking for sales for yourself, you want something which is a legacy product where you get all of the training we've got. The platform hosts over 30 hours worth of content, over 600 interactive videos that can show you, and the value is ridiculously high, but the cost is ridiculously low. So all I want you to do from this, when you come off of this video, I'd like you to go and book a free call with me or one of the team. Let us show you exactly what we've done. Let us show you exactly how you can get this moving in more order. And this is one of just under 600 things that we can show you. Now imagine if out of 600 things, 10 of them, the first 10 you watch, make you an increase of 10% of sales. What's that worth in your business? Imagine in a year, if you're at the stage where you're making 6 figures. Imagine, like some of our clients, we've turned $200,000 deals into $680,000 deals. And that came from gaining new knowledge. That came from getting new information. That came from taking the step from where you are now to making that call. Like I said, after 15 minutes, you may well find that the team can't help you. And if that happens, we'll put you over to other people which you know in the industry that can bring you the right results. But make sure you book that call, because if you don't take action, you won't get other action people.